All right, let's also bring in our panel now to react to this and some other issues happening today. We are fortunate to have Newsmax contributor Joe diGenova, a former chief counsel for the Senate Intelligence Committee, and Newsmax contributor Victoria Toensing. Joe is also a former U.S. attorney for Washington, D.C. Guys, you know how D.C. works. So we heard from Schumer mostly about Ukraine. We've got to get them the funds. We've got to get them the weapons or they will lose. Europe, NATO, they're all relying on us. But Johnson held pretty firm and said, executive orders, make action now, President Biden, protect Americans. How do you think Speaker Johnson fared in this meeting? And will the president now blink as he goes to the border to Brownsville on Thursday?
Well, I think the murder of the young nursing student in Georgia has amped up the public interest in the border in a very significant way, in a very human way. And it kind of trumps all of this nonsense at the White House, because the American people have seen in the raw the results of the bizarre public policy of Joe Biden, his Secretary of State, and his Secretary of Homeland Security. Now Americans are dying from murderers who came across the border illegally. I think Speaker Johnson has a lot more power than he thinks he does to resist, and I think his bargaining position is very good. His problem, of course, is a bad Senate. With Mitch McConnell and, of course, Chuck Schumer, it goes without saying. But I think Johnson's got to hang in there. Otherwise, he can kiss his speakership goodbye.
I just want to add one more thing, Bianca, and that is I was surprised that he did not mention H.R. 2. H.R. 2 is the legislation that the House sent over to the Senate, which is set there because Schumer will not bring it up. And here's where the Republicans always mess up on their talking points. They've allowed the Democrats to say, Republicans don't want to vote for a border bill. Yes, they do. H.R. 2. And if Mitch McConnell had had any cojones, he would have put H.R. 2 on the table and said, OK, now you can negotiate for the foreign funding bill, but we're going to have H.R. 2. And he didn't do it.
Yeah, he might have said it behind closed doors. We don't know exactly the back and forth. We do know this president has dismantled a lot that was done under Trump, including Remain in Mexico and so many other protections here. Now we have Venezuela saying you can deport them, but we're not going to take our criminals back. Thank you very much. Again, so sad that we are talking about the murder of a college student, Laken Riley. We know Michigan, of course, the primary's underway. Arab Americans not too happy with Joe Biden. There's talk also, Ken Buck, Congressman of Colorado, wants to invoke the 25th Amendment. We have the video of Joe Biden holding an ice cream, talking about a ceasefire. When you talk about, the Democrats' message, I mean, all of this is not only just with the border, how the world is exactly on fire right now, and somehow they're still sticking behind this guy, Joe and Victoria.
Well, what you have is we have an incompetent president, and I mean that in the literal legal sense of the term. He is mentally incompetent at this point. No matter how many ice cream cones he eats and, freezes his tonsils, it's not going to make him any smarter. He has a diminished capacity to govern. That's dangerous for all of us. And to watch the country have to be governed by someone like this in the midst of world crises and domestic crises is really, really a frightening picture.
But the 25th Amendment won't be used, Bianca. No. I mean, Ken Buck is really a legal, unsophisticated person. I've seen his writings about the Biden impeachment. He doesn't know what he's talking about most of the time. But the 25th Amendment is going to take Vice President Kamala to initiate it. And it ain't gonna happen.
But the discussion is happening, and it's happening more frequently, and there is going to be more pressure as we see what is happening here in the race. As we look ahead, of course, the physical without the cognitive, Robert Herr's special counsel report, it's not going away. And tomorrow, Hunter Biden will be on the Hill. And I'm sure we'll have a lot of reaction when we have you guys back. Thank you so much, Victoria Toensing, Joe diGenova. Always great to have you both in.